Hello everyone, welcome to the Bulls Radio Feature of the Week. I'm Kyle Campbell. Thank you for joining me here on bullsradio.org. Today we're talking Dominique Jones. Over 21 points, over 6 rebounds, and over 3 assists in the country. He's the only guy to do it in play this year. He enters his name into the NBA draft. He had until May 8th to take it out, but he will stay in. June 28, 2010 will be the day that Dominique Jones gets drafted to the NBA. We had a chance to sit down with USF head men's basketball coach Stan Heath. All right, welcome in here to the Bulls Radio Feature of the Week. I'm Kyle Campbell, sitting alongside Coach Stan Heath. Coach, thank you for joining us here. We're talking today about Dominique Jones. Of course, he is entering the NBA draft this season. And Coach, I want to go back and start with the questions right away. I want to go back to his freshman season. What you first thought of Dominique Jones when you first saw him?
Well, obviously, I thought he was a talented young man. I thought he had, parts of his game he had to improve and get better at. But I thought he was a hungry, ambitious young man that wanted to work, wanted to be coached, wanted to be a great player. And we tried to do everything we could to maybe put a plan in place to help him develop, because we thought as he improved, our team.
What are some of the big changes, some big improvements you saw from his freshman year that on his sophomore year, and then finally his junior season?
Well, I think initially he had to kind of understand how to play with other guys and how to utilize his talents to mesh with the other players on the floor. His first year we had Control Gransberry, who obviously was the focal point of our team that year. Learning how to use a big man, getting him the ball, and keeping him happy was probably the first thing. And then as time went on, Dominique was obviously a great scorer. He could really score in the open court. He had to improve his jump shot. He had to improve his free throw shooting. He had to improve his just making plays for his other teammates. And we saw into his sophomore year when Gransberry left, maybe more of an emergence of being able to knock down the jump shot, more of an emergence of him being able to set up his teammates for other plays. But then he improved his scoring average from freshman year to sophomore year. His junior year, I think we saw the biggest jump. And my emphasis to Dominique over the summer was, okay, we know that you can score 20 to 30 points in a game, but you've got to make your teammates better, and winning has got to be the most important thing to you. We talked about going to the NBA and being an NBA player at that time, and I said, the only thing to stop you is winning. It's not your numbers, it's not your points or anything like that, because you've already done it. It is now is can you convert those numbers into winning games? And we saw again, the jump shot was better, the ability to handle extra defenders, the ability to make plays and make his teammates around him better, utilizing his teammates. But more importantly, we saw a guy that in the games could will his teams to victories.
The last time that fans here at USF saw Dominique Jones being the floor of the Sun was him passing up the ball against NC State in the first round of the NIT. Maybe take us back to a week after that game or 2 weeks after. What was the mind thought after? What was he thinking about, as far as when that game was finished?
Well, we always preach to our team that, one possession doesn't decide anything. There's, 100 possessions in the course of a game, whether it's a missed shot, you don't get a rebound, you box out, a free throw. In saying that, he did feel like he let his teammates and coaches in USF down by not making the play that he normally makes. He's made that same play. Remember back a year ago, we played Marquette, probably our biggest game. He won that game on that same exact play. He won the game against Providence on that same exact play where we isolate that side of the floor. So he knew, that he'd been in that situation before and what to do. However, as an athlete, those were split-second decisions. They happen so fast. And for a brief second, he felt what Chris Howard had a great opportunity right there. And Chris Howard had delivered in some other games as well too. So it's just one of those things I wish, he wishes he could have had that. I wish he could have had that as well. But I don't look at that as the ultimate play. We had a screw up defensively where two of my guys were running out of that court. And so there was a lot of things that could have happened a lot better in the last 11 seconds that just didn't go our way.
Well, then let's take take me through the thought process after the season's over, up until May 8th. The thought process obviously puts his name in the draft, but has an opportunity to pull it out by May. What did you guys talk about? What did maybe him and his family talk about keeping his name?
Well, just looking back at that time period, it wasn't an easy decision, and I can tell with Dominic, as a coach, you just want to give the young man and his family the best information, exact information that they can use to make a good decision. And I think initially it was more, let me put my name in, let me see what they're saying, let me see kind of how this process works out. And I thought as time went on, it was, well, I definitely think I want to do this. But then I think there was another period even after that, when I made a decision to put an announcement in the paper, that maybe even the last week we actually had conversations like, Coach, I'm 50-50. I do want to kind of still really think hard about both directions. I mean, we had talked about the Brazil trip, we talked about some different things that he was really excited about. And ultimately, I think as that week finished up, he did some workouts. Some of the feedback he was getting, some of the feedback I've been getting was really, really compelling. Really to the point where, boy, it really wouldn't be hard to pass that up. So I understand the position he was in, I understand the decision he made. And he's very consistent with it. A lot of other players around the country were in that same position.
What was some of that feedback that he was getting?
Well, he's getting a lot of feedback that he's hovering right around 20 to 30. And that's pretty good. That's a first-round draft pick. That's a guaranteed contract. That's an opportunity, I think, to play for a pretty good basketball team. If we can help there, we got a chance to do well. So that's what he's been hearing lately. And at the same time, he still has some more things he needs to do to solidify that position. One of the things that's coming up that I'm going to attend is the pre-draft camp in Chicago. And you'll have interviews, you'll have workouts that will take place Wednesday through Friday, or Wednesday through Saturday. And he'll need to perform well there. And so there's still a lot out there that he can improve himself. He can stay the same, or hopefully not. Things could go in a different direction.
Do you think he's average 6'4", he's a little over 200 pounds. Do you think shooting guard is a position for him in the NBA? Or do you think maybe he'll have to play point?
Well, I think going into this draft, he's looked at as a combo guard. A guard that can play both positions. A guard that can bring the ball to the floor. A guard that can score. A guard that has versatility to his game. I think ultimately, as time goes on, if Dominique can make the conversion to be a point guard, then I think that's where his future lies in terms of, money, the stardom, all those different things that come with the NBA. Can that be done? Well, I think he's got work to do. But I do think he's in the NBA.
What team do you think he's going to be playing on? And who, if you look at the NBA right now, who would you match him up with? Who would you say he looks like the most?
Well, it's hard to really put a finger on where he can go. I think the teams that have shown the most interest would be Washington, New Jersey's got 3 first-round picks, actually 2, and the first pick in the second round. I know they have quite a bit of interest. I think Chicago's had some interest. Indiana's had some interest. Philadelphia. So those are kind of the teams that I've been hearing a little bit from. In terms of him, kind of being a guy that
anyone he reminds you of out there right now? I saw Rodney Stuckey was one of them that day.
I've watched Stuckey, and he has that same size that Stuckey has. Stuckey does shoot the ball better than Dominique does, and he has more of a point guard feel than Dominique at this point in time. Now, as I mentioned before, Dominique can really work hard and develop those aspects of the game. I think that's a very good comparison.
Last question: what is Dominique Jones meant to this group?
Oh, he's been huge. It's almost, when I look back, it's like when I first got the job, I was given a Christmas present. Here's a guy that a lot of people didn't think was a Big East player. A lot of people kind of question, well, how was his impact to be here? And I look back and just say, boy, year after year, how this kid developed, how he improved is really impressed me. It's a great story. It's a great story to tell future recruits and future kids around the state of Florida. You look at a guy that, and this tells you a little bit about his personality. He might be the only player I've ever known and coached that has averaged more points in conference play than he did non-conference. A lot of guys get their numbers and against the bad teams. This guy got numbers against the very best. And every year got better and better and better to the point where our program won 20 games. Our program was 9-9 in conference play. It probably had one of the best years in USF history. And it's a team sport. His teammates are very important to that equation. But boy, he put a lot on his shoulders and he carried us in a lot of games. So he's definitely one of those jerseys I feel we need to hang up in the future. And you know, he's always got a front row seat in my book when it comes to USF basketball.
Well, Coach, always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us here. USF head basketball coach Stan Heath here on the Bulls Radio Feature of the Week.